Welcome to Jagat Guru Nanak Dev Punjab State Open University. Welcome students of MCOM for the subject Organization Theory and Behavior. So today we are going to discuss about unit number 11, that is Organizational Culture and Climate. Now in this chapter we are going to study about culture in general, that what is culture and what is organization culture. Organization means various companies, various organizations, what sort of culture do they have, uh, and what are the features of culture, what are the functions of culture, what are the elements of culture, and how it is different from climate of an organization. So this is basically we are going to discuss here, and what is its significance to an organization and how the culture get developed. So after studying this unit, students will be able to explain the meaning and nature of organization culture, describe various factors that influence culture, explain the functions, various elements, the concept of climate, and factor influencing the organization climate, and suggest the process of creating favorable organizational climate. So let's do it one by one. The first one is meaning of culture. So culture refers to system of shared meaning held by its members. It is expressed in terms of norms, values, attitude, and beliefs shared by organizational members. So, for example, if I have to say that what sort of norms my organization's members, I mean the employees of the organization, they share with each other, what rules, what norms they follow, what values do they carry, what sort of attitude do they have? I mean, are they very aggressive, or are they very competitive, or they're very they're very passionate about their work, or they have a sense of like they're engrossed in their work, or they are just they have no attachment with the organization. On the other hand, you may feel like this, or so what sort of how do you serve your employees, how do you serve your customers? So all these are exhibited in terms of culture. So all this reflect the culture of an organization. What sort of management is there? What sort of structures are there? What sort of communication patterns are there in the organizations? All these things depict the culture of the organization. So it's a system of shared meaning. So everybody shares that. So you can see in every employee of your organization the same kind of attitude, the same kind of belief. Like for example, how do they serve their customer? How do they serve their employees? Um, so if you find that if everybody is behaving in a very nice manner, they're treating the customer as a king, they are very quality conscious. So all these reflect that what sort of culture this organization is having, or everybody is happy in that organization. For example, everybody is being treated so well, is being paid well. There is equity, there is justice, there is fairness in the procedures. That how do you treat your employees? There is a quality consciousness. So everybody shares the same kind of feeling. So this is called the culture of the organization. The organization culture must be created and sustained in such a way that it develops the congenial environment in the organization. Another thing, the culture can never be created in one day. It always takes a lot of time to create it and sustain it for a longer period of time. So it's not something which you can just create in one day. On the other hand, climate consists of set of characteristics and factors that are perceived by employees about their organization. So although there are various authors who says culture and climate, they use these both the terms interchangeably. कि दोनों same है. I mean, you can like for example, some distinguish it in this way, like culture is what sort of belief you have about the organization, what are your expectations from the organization, and you see if how much they are in your organization. So that is climate. Some people say it like this. Some people are of the view that culture is qualitative and climate is something which you can measure, but there is nothing like that. Culture can also be assessed. There are various techniques, various scales we use to measure the culture. Um, and we have the diagnostic tools for as well as for the climate also. Next is concept of organization culture. Culture is pivot of any group or society, as in we are just taking here as culture, not as an organization culture. It determines the way members interact with one another and with the outsider. So for example, ये कुछ इस तरह की चीजें हैं, the beliefs, the way you perceive, that how do you perceive, how do you think, what is the best way of behaving, what is the best way of doing the things which the organization feels that it is the correct way of doing, believing, thinking, and they pass on this to the next generations also, that this is the way you have to run this organization, and our behavior would be based on these value system. We treat our employee at number one, we treat our customer very well, we are quality conscious, we are an ethical organization, we believe in competitiveness, we believe in this thing, we believe in this thing, we believe in, so there are set beliefs, and which is passed on to every member of the organization, and they also treat it as the best way of perceiving, thinking, and doing the things. So, and how do you, it got reflected. It's reflected in the artifacts. It reflected in the espoused values. It reflected in the stories. It get reflected in the behaviors of your owners. For example, the promoter of the company, how do they behave with the people? How do they treat their employees? So there are stories of your promoters. For example, in the Tata Group, how Ratan J.R.D. Tata or the Tatas, how in the Ambanis, Dhirubhai Ambani, how he used to manage manage the people, and how now Mukesh Ambani, Anil Ambani, and their sons are how they are behaving in the organizations, what sort of values they carry, and they pass it on to the next generations also. So all these things depict the culture of the organization. So Stoner, Freeman, and Gilbert have described culture as the complex mixture of assumptions, behaviors, stories, myths, metaphors, and other ideas that fit together to define what it means to be a member of a particular society. According to Elliot Jacques, an organization culture is the customary or traditional ways of thinking and doing things which are shared to a greater or lesser extent by all the members of the organization, which new member must learn and at least partially accept in order to be accepted into the service of the firm. So this is how different authors have defined the organization culture. Next is nature. What is the nature of the culture? It's like an individual, every organization has its own personality. Personality of the organization defines the internal environment of the organization. So basically in culture, we talk about internal things, right? So like here we have used the we have made a comparison of an organization with the personality of the person. Similarly, it says culture is also the personality of the organization. It differentiates an organization from the other because one organization has a different culture, another organization has a different culture. In another organization, people are behaving, they are managing the thing, processes, systems are different. So it distinguishes. So what distinguishes one from the other is the culture. It is relatively enduring or stable over time. It is perceived by the members and the outsider. It exercises a significant influence on the attitude, behavior, and performance of organizational members. Significance of organization culture. So what sort of impact or what is the importance of organization culture? So it is whenever people name an organization, culture is attached to that organization. He belongs to, he's working in Reliance, he's working in, he or she is working in Microsoft, this guy is working in Google, somebody is working in the Cognizant, in some another big concern, right? So with that, somebody is working with the Amazon, somebody is working with some another company in this university, in this very premier institute. So you get a feel that, for example, somebody is working in IIT, somebody is working in NIT, somebody is working in a local college. So there is a difference because the kind of culture these premier institutions and the local colleges carry, and the kind of system do they have, the kind of the kind of students, the input is coming into their institutions, and the way they teach, their standards, the high merit rate, and the type of students they are getting. So all are making a difference. So with when you say I belong to this organization, so a lot of things automatically you can presume, right? Oh, you are from here, from this institution, so mama must be, elite class or this class, or you can say very good culture in this organization. So, organization culture creates a boundary beyond which no employee are permitted to go. So, because they set certain guidelines that these are the behaviors, these are the standard of behavior which you need to follow, and beyond it, which you cannot go. An organization is well recognized by its culture. The culture of an organization provides its stability. People prefer to continue with that organization because you believe that I also hold the same kind of beliefs and values which my organization is having. So you have a bond, you have a sense of belonging, you don't want to leave that organization unless and until there are certain conditions, factors which force you to leave the organization. So the social recognition of the organization culture makes the organization grow and develop in all the dimensions. And the next is culture acts as a motivator that guides and controls the employees. Satisfied employees give more spirit and enthusiasm for performing their respective jobs. Attitude and behavior of employees are directed toward achievement of goals through a sound culture. Culture gives rise to positive attitude and behavior, again, which are again an addition to the culture, and it refers to various cycles of the positive behavior. In the last, it's written implicit rules developed under the organization culture make people or development oriented. So it's like it's not always that in culture everything is written explicitly. Some things, some behaviors, some there are certain assumed or implicit rules which are there in the organization, which is not written, which is not in black and white somewhere, but there is a psychological contract, which we say implicit contract, between the employer and employee, that how you need to behave, how do you need to reciprocate to somebody's behavior. So that is implied things, because that you learn through your seniors, that how do they behave, how do they promote something in your organization, and you learn. So it's not written anywhere, but you learn while you are working in that organization, as you are part of that organization. Next is features of organization culture. So different organizations promote different kind of culture. For example, innovation and risk taking. Some organization, like here is written, innovation is the way of life in Microsoft. So innovation is promoted in Microsoft. Innovation is the key characteristic of Gillette company. Companies encourage their employees to be innovative, risk taker at the different degrees. They celebrate their mistakes. They do not punish the candidate if you have done a mistake. They have a culture celebrating the mistakes. They say that if you're making mistake, at least that means you are doing something in the organization. Because if you're not doing anything, there are lesser chances that you will do any kind of mistake, right? So attention to detail, very. I mean, some organizations are very meticulous about how people do their work. So employees in the Boston BCG, like BCG is a company, consultancy company, they expected their employees to be precise, analytical, and pay attention to even the minor details. So the organization required their employees to be precise, analytical, and pay attention. So this is the kind of culture that they propagate, that they pass on to their employees, that we are a company where we need employees who are very precise, analytical, pay attention to, who are meticulous. So पहले ही जैसे बंदा recruit होता है, उसी time you are telling the guy that you need to be very analytical, you need to be very precise. So this enforces, this ingrain, this cultivate a kind of belief or system in the employees also, that they are expected to be like, they are expected to behave in this particular manner, that we expect you to be very precise, analytical, and meticulous. Next is people orientation. Like Hewlett and Packard, a computer company, announced one day unpaid holiday for every 9 working days and avoided layoff. Thus, the organization take the effect of its decision on its employees. Team orientation, like Global Solution repeats, we work. So we here means that it's not only one person who is responsible for the success of the organization, it is the entire team. So they prefer that people should not work individually, rather they should work in teams. So teamwork, team orientation is something which is ingrained in their culture. Next is aggressiveness. For example, employees of the State Bank of India were not allowed to be aggressive, whereas employees of IDBI Bank are expected to be aggressive and competitive. So you have seen, like in the public sector bank, if you have to open up an account, how much time do they take? While if you talk about a private sector bank, they will come to your place. They'll fill all the form. They'll just tell you that you just give your snap. We will do all the formalities for you, because they work. Their approach toward capturing the customer is so aggressive, is so competitive, because the behavior means business. So stability. Most of the Indian universities still have the status quo strategy of maintaining the traditional values and beliefs of Guru and Shishya Parampara of Gurukuls. So some organization, they want to have that stability strategy. So you can just measure that the culture of this organization is of stability, maintaining the status quo. Status quo means the maintaining the current state of affairs. Next is radical change. Some organizations are like they prefer to have radical changes, transformations. Like in contrast to stability, it is in contrast to stability strategy. Like if on one pole you take stability, on the other side it's a radical change. Like after 1991, when Indian economy was opened up after liberalization, privatization, and globalization, uh, most of the multinational companies which came to India, they were having this growth, diversification, conglomerate strategy. So over this stability. So customer orientation. Some organizations are very, very customer oriented. For example, if you go to the Pizza Hut, you'll see that how do they treat their customers. So customer is the king for them. So it is the degree to which the management decisions take into consideration the effect of outcomes on customers of the organizations. Next is type and functions of organization culture. So we can divide the culture into four categories. Number one, strong culture, dominant culture, subculture, and counterculture. As the very name says, strong, which is deeply ingrained, which is extensively there among the members of the organization, the culture. Dominant, when majority of the people are showing these features of the culture, a particular feature of the culture, we call it a dominant culture. Subculture, when in an organization, different departments have different cultures. For example, there are various units of an organization. Supposing एक नॉर्थ में एक यूनिट है, एक साउथ में एक कंपनी का यूनिट है. सो नॉर्थ जो इंडिया के अंदर जो एक आपका यूनिट है जिस फैक्ट्री का या एक डिपार्टमेंटल के अंदर भी, if you have a different culture, then we call it a subculture of the organization. Next, counter culture, as the very name says, counter means which is against what you have, right? What is there in majority, or like for example, refers to the culture which does not match with the value of the organization. So counter culture can be seen at the time of merger and acquisition. So ये वहाँ देखे जाते हैं जब दो companies merge हो जाती हैं. Obviously, supposing A company got merged with B company. So now the people in A company, they have a different value system, different attitude, different practices, different systems, while the B company must be having a different setup, right? So they carry different cultural values, this carry different cultural values. So when both got merged, so we try to imbibe that everyone should follow the culture of that dominant, the one that has acquired this smaller company, one which has a major share, major stake. But when people come, so it's like a marriage of two companies. So when one company comes in contact with another company, so they have a different culture. So people get adapted with each other. दोनों एक दूसरे के साथ अडाप्ट करने में उनको टाइम लगता है. So we see counter culture there. ऐसी सिचुएशन में हम काउंटर कल्चर देखते हैं that although they are part of my company now, but these people have a different culture because they have come from a different organization. So that's called the counter culture. Next is functions of organization culture. Organization culture performs a number of functions to make the employees feel at ease and increase the credibility of the organization. They provide sense of identity. Okay, I belong to this organization. So why should I say that I identify myself with my organization? So जब मैं आइडेंटिफाई करती हूँ तो मेरे साथ आता है कि या दिस कंपनी हैज these value system, these things, they they give a lot of value to this. So obviously I feel that this employee must be having those cultural values. ठीक है, अगर एक कंपनी बहुत एग्रेसिव है, competitive है, meticulous है, बहुत ओपन कल्चर है, एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन को प्रमोट करती है, इनोवेशन प्रमोट करती है, ठीक है, और आपके साथ साथ एम्प्लॉइज का ख्याल भी रखती है, सो एंड यू आर पार्ट ऑफ दैट कंपनी, यू गेट अ सेंस ऑफ आइडेंटिटी कि मैं उस कंपनी से जानी जाती हूँ, माई पहचान, माई आइडेंटिटी इज विद दिस कंपनी. इफ द कंपनी इज लाइक दिस, आई एम ऑल्सो लाइक दिस. सो मेरे साथ भी एक आइडेंटिटी जुड़ी होती है. Right, enhancing commitment towards organizations. When I feel a sense of identity with my organization, I have a sense of commitment, right? I relate well with my values and beliefs. Defining standard of behavior. So, ये culture आपको एक standard of behavior देता है that okay, you belong to this organization, so you have to follow these procedure, you have to follow this rule. These are the standard of behavior that you need to follow. Acting is a binding force. It indicates that culture acts as a bond between employee and the organization. So if there is this acts as a force that join the two with a set of goals and purposes. All right. Next is individual autonomy. Another elements is individual autonomy, the degree of responsibility, freedom, and opportunities of exercising initiative that individuals have in their organization. These are the functions. Yes, elements. So, what are the elements of a culture? How do we measure the culture? We see how much autonomy is there, how much freedom is there to the employees to take the decisions. Structure, how much it is structured, how much your processes, your systems are structured, how much everything is very, very clear, objective, performance expectation, authority, responsibility, authority relationship is very clear to everyone. What is expected out of you to do, the KPAs, the KRA, the key performance area, key result area, everything is clearly defined. So is this the sort of culture of your organization? What sort of management support is there? The degree to which managers provide clear communication, assistance, warmth, support to their subordinates. Identity, how much, the degree to which members identify with the organization as a whole rather than with their particular work or field of professional expertise. That means I am known not because of my professional expertise, but I am known because of my company, because I am associated with this company. Performance reward system, whether performance reward system is linked with the performance, or is it related to is it linked to the seniority or the favoritism in your organization? So that's also one of the elements of your culture of your organization. Next is how much is the risk tolerance, how much your organization tolerate the risk taking behavior, how much your organization tolerate the conflict between the people. I mean, there are organizations who says conflict is inevitable, it's unavoidable. So, and it is natural. I think some says that it promotes creativity. If you have more conflicts, that means everybody has a authority to say. They can put their viewpoints well before the higher authorities, and it promotes discussion. It promotes creativity. While there are companies who says they try to suppress the conflict. So how are the communication pattern? Are they very transparent? Are they very open? They're very clear patterns, or there are very formal patterns, or there are informal channels also. How's the outcome orientation in your organization? I mean, the culture of the organization is like to focus on the results rather than on the input, on the processes. Or whether your organization is people oriented, it's taking a lot of attention towards how their people behave. They take a lot of due care of their employees, about their promotions, about their transfers, about their performances. They do care for the growth and development of their organization. So these are some of the elements of organization culture.